First of all, you don't know me.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.
All right, everybody, welcome in. We have a very special, fun one today. A bit of a two-parter, which is very appropriate considering our guest. Because she was so good that we had to bring her back twice in that beautiful soap opera style where we slapped a wig on her for an episode and hoped the audience would buy it. And thankfully, not because of the wig, but because of her performance, we did. Ladies and gents, please welcome Amanda Schull.
That's probably my favorite intro ever.
Oh, clip it. Hi, friend.
Hi, my friends. I'm so happy to see you from afar. I wish it were less afar.
You too. Where are you now? You're in a fabulous tucked away little library at your parents' house, you said, or somewhere? Where?
I'm at my parents' house in Honolulu.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. Is it 6:11 a.m. right now?
It's 6:11
Okay, so this
a.m.
is a perfect example, a snapshot of just how professional and amazing Amanda is. Because, see, it's 8 a.m. where I am, and I didn't have the time. I put on a hat. That was about as professional as I could get for you all. Amanda looks like she just stepped out of hair and makeup. It's all done. She's all dolled up. It's 6:11. The roosters haven't even woken up yet, and Amanda is on her mark.
You're
hair
very
and makeup,
kind.
Wardrobe, ready to go.
Rob, you are very kind. That is the exact reason I showed up.
Buddy, let me tell you something.
Just to prove it all.
I always, we don't get to see each other often. We got to see each other at a convention recently in Wilmington, and it was a blast because it was just a reminder of how much I enjoy your company. But I left the show and I didn't ever revisit it. So doing this podcast is the first time I'm rewatching episodes, and I remember the broad strokes of what we did.
Right.
But I forgot all of the nuance, all of the small stuff, and so much of it. And I gotta say, watching you play unhinged Katie, there was so much I'd forgotten about, but it is so fun and juicy. You play Psycho, and because I know you in real life, it's even more enjoyable for me, but you play unhinged so well.
So committed to it.
You're very kind. Wouldn't we all rather be crazy and mean than nice on camera? I mean, this is our opportunity, right?
Right. Yes, all the moments in real life where we just want to be horrible and choose not to because we're civilized, kind human beings.
Yeah.
We can let it all out.
Yeah. No, I mean, the opportunities to just be like Cracker Jacks is, one of the funnest parts of our job,
I love that.
So absolutely, I would, just jump at the chance to have that opportunity any day of the week.
Yeah, we were saying this last week that I think most actors enjoy playing the opposite of who they are in real life. Like nice people love playing villains because they get to access and act on a side of themselves that is very foreign, And what you just said in mind, it's like Katie's so funny because there is no high road. Like you're saying in your real life, how you're like, I'm going to be the mature adult and take the high. Katie just has one road.
One speed.
And it is in one speed, and it is Cracker Jacks, as you would say.
Yeah, no, she knew what she wanted. Listen, she's a professional athlete. She knew what she wanted, and she was dedicated, and she went after her goal. I mean,
I love this. I love the psychology of it too. I mean, that makes sense. I wish I knew more about how Katie was that unhinged, as you say, and managed to make it that far in her career without having ever.
The best ones do.
I guess Clay was just the one that pushed her over the edge.
Right. I mean, look at that face and that hat.
Oh, guys, stop. Give me more. Feed my ego. Well, this right here, we're just going to kind of do like a Q&A and just talk about your experience in the show. But
Please.
I do want to say, speaking of just the unhinged nature, it is funny that when Katie clearly is starting to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and she's talking to her roommate, played by Candace Patton.
Let's do more food analogies. Okay, go on.
Yes, this is all I do, by the way, is I riff, and it's either 80s references or food references. So
Perfect.
Welcome to the party.
I'm on board.
It's funny that, because, when we see the roommate meet Clay, she's like, hey, bud,
Heads
she's
up.
off her lithium,
Yeah.
and it's about to get bad. Once I heard that piece of information, I wanted to go back in time to the scene where Katie's like doing her hair, and she's like, he will be mine, and it will be great. And I'm like, hey, roommate.
And the roommate wasn't like, this is weird.
Yeah, you didn't smell what she was cooking?
Are you on your lithium or are you off it?
100%. When your roommate is looking at the obituary of a guy she's met for 6 minutes going, he will be mine.
Yeah.
There's like a million red flags that should get your attention.
And how did she just wait for you to come to her? Why was she not proactive? Like, what is this roommate busy doing with her life that
Not
she
her
doesn't
problem.
have
Joy, not her problem.
boundaries?
Classic enabler behavior.
But this also might not be the first time she's had to be like, this again,
Well, clearly not, because when Clay goes, how bad does it get? She looks at him dead serious and goes, it gets bad. You should be careful.
I'm so curious how before you started playing Cuckoo Katie, you came in and did such a beautiful job as Sara. You ripped our hearts out and made us laugh and made us cry and feel all the things that we needed to feel in order to be invested in Clay and Sarah's storyline. And in Clay's storyline, as he continued, like the two of you guys, your
that's
chemistry
the
was
whole point. Right?
Yes.
It's to facilitate the regular. He was this new character stepping onto the show, and the whole point is to give his backstory in just like a flash of the pan. Super fast, but we need to care about him. We need to care about his journey, and we need the audiences to understand who he is going forward based on who he was prior to meeting him. I wasn't told that I was dead when I shot Sara.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't told I was dead. So, Rob, you and I had a scene looking over like a balcony. I was wearing like an orange kind of top. My hair kept going to my face. It was windy. And I kept like touching you with my hand. And they were like, no, can't touch. And I was like, oh, interesting. And so I kept like, I kept my finger, they were like, you can have it just sort of close. And then I think it was maybe shooting the second episode. I can't remember exactly when I was told, oh, BT dubs, you're dead.
That is so surprising that they just didn't tell you ahead of time. I would have been so confused as an actor. Like, I can't touch my husband.
Well, I think it's more just that they wanted it. It was a figment of his imagination, and it was very real to him. So
Yes.
So we wanted it. I wasn't part of the decision making. They wanted it to be as realistic as possible. And I don't know if somebody would go in and be like, Clay, oh, move on with your life. I don't know what the other choices would have been, but I think it was just they wanted it to be as grounded as possible, and that was the reasoning.
When you auditioned, do you remember, was there any material that would have foreshadowed the Katie arc?
No.
Or
none.
was it all sweet stuff?
No. Katie wasn't in the picture at all. After the it was just a 3-episode contract. And so
For
I did
Sara.
for Sara, correct. For Sara. And after 3 episods, I think they liked what they saw, and they
They
decided.
did.
Yep.
Well, I'm not just meaning like, haha, like from my perspective,
No, of
I think
course.
they liked the idea of, something going forward with it. And how can we do that? We'll put a wig on. There we go.
No, they did like what they saw. They to the credit of our producers, I think they could recognize when there was somebody who had real talent and came on the show and had something to offer, and filled a void that it's like you filled a void we didn't know we were missing. And it's hard to define that, especially when you've got a show with such a huge cast. You think, everybody's sort of playing a part. But when somebody comes in and you're like, oh, this is new and fresh and it feels good. It doesn't feel like a flash in the pan. This feels like something I need more of. It makes sense that they would try and keep you around. I mean, it's funny that they did it that way, but it sure was fun. I mean, my goodness, what a riot.
I think we ran a little bit of a course of flashbacks and, fast times at Ridgemont High and did what we needed to do with Sara.
Yeah.
And so we moved forward. Speaking of the cast of thousands, how many storylines did this episode have? Holy moly.
Yeah, there were a lot of storylines.
When I was watching it back, I was like, good grief. But everyone seemed to get their share. Like, how is that even possible with like 43 storylines? You felt like you got enough of a taste of every single one of them.
But yeah, when you think about an ensemble, if you have 42 minutes of content and you have, let's say, 7 main characters, you are really only given 6 minutes per character to tell a whole episode's worth of story. Oof. And when you look at it like that, that's nothing.
Wow. Was that math that you did just now? Or
I started last night. I finished a couple minutes ago. Took me a while.
That's why it was the hat, right?
Yes, you're like it's to hide the big brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a challenge. 6 minutes. And you don't get just one crack at it. You're breaking it. So it's a difficult balancing act, but I agree with you. I thought the episode did it well. But before we get into the episode, let's walk it back, because your trajectory is crazy in that you did not come into acting as traditionally as an actor. You are one of those ridiculous, obnoxious, multiple threats where you got onto center stage through dancing. Yeah. And then you were like, by the way, in my back pocket, look at this other thing I do that I'm really good at, which is bonkers. So talk a little bit about doing center stage and what that was like.
Right. Sure. And thank you. I was a dancer. I mean, I started ballet at the age of 3, and I knew that I wasn't ready to stop dancing when I graduated from high school, but I also didn't know whether I wanted to dance professionally or whether anybody wanted me. And so I went to college, which is, I guess, different from a lot of professional dancers, because it's a finite career, and a lot of people started a lot younger professionally than I did. And so I went to school for a couple of years, and I went to the summer program at San Francisco Ballet. And at the end of the summer program, they offered me a scholarship to stay for the year. So I went for the year as a student and took college classes at USF in the morning and performed with the company at night. And at the end of my year there, we were rehearsing our end of the year showcase. And I remember the choreographer said, "We're going to have this big Hollywood producer come in today." And I had no idea what she was talking about, but I knew I was going to get the job. Like, I was like, I'm on. This is happening. I don't know what it's for, but game time. And
that's amazing. No, it is. To have that foresight and that, like, instead of feeling nervous, to just be like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah, no, but I mean, as a dancer, it's like you're only as good as your performance, right? So, I had done musical theater growing up, and so I had no idea what this person was coming to see, who they were coming to see, what they were looking for, but I jumped higher, I kicked higher, I performed for the mirror, like I did everything to razzle dazzle that I thought would get me attention, and somehow it worked. And she had gone across. She was an ex-professional dancer herself, and she had gone across the country looking for a dancer who could act, and I just happened to be in the right place, desperately in the right place at the right time.
Wow.
But so hold on, she needed a dancer who can act. Well, so she saw you dance, but I'm assuming the next step was her asking, can you act, right?
Correct. So the next step was the company assistant came to me in the hall, and she gave me the script. It was a Sony Pictures movie, so it was like a full, beautifully put together full script of that, and I had never seen one of those before. And sides. And she said that person wants you to read Audition. And I was like, got it. It's happening. So I went home, read the script, and like in true dancer form, I memorized all of my lines and everything. So I would not need the pages going in. I was going to perform.
Wait, the whole script, or did she tell you, like, this scene?
I had 3 scenes, I believe, as Jodie Sawyer, which is the role I ended up getting. And so the next day, I didn't know when they were going to ask me to go audition. The next day, between rehearsals, she pulled me in and I was like beet red and sweaty and just, in my leotard and tights. And I went into this tiny little rehearsal room and did the sides. And afterwards, she said, great, okay, so can you read these sides for me? I'll give you a few minutes to go outside and look at them. And it was Susan May Pratt's role, which is kind of the bitch. And again, leading back to what we were saying before, I was like, oh, I like this one more. Can I have this one, please? And she was like, you don't get to choose.
That's not how this works, Amanda.
Yeah.
That's kind of sweet, though.
So I went into the hall and I worked on it. And she told me later that the reason she had done that was because she called her boss when I was out in the hall and she said, I found her. I found Jodie Sawyer. I'm just going to get a little more of her on tape for you. And so I came in and I read a little bit more. And then natural next steps were they sent me down to LA to meet the director, Sir Nicholas Heitner, and the producers. And then I did a screen test and all of that.
It's one of those classic Hollywood stories. It's just discovery and you get swept up and somebody recognizes the star power and they go, okay, let's go. And you're just swept along for the ride. It's magic.
And it's also just one of those classic, like, explanations of, I always say I was in the right place at the right time. And a little bit of, of luck. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity, right?
Yes.
And I feel like I was perfectly prepared for that role. Not necessarily for anything going forward. I had never done screen acting before. So I wasn't prepared for the roles that came afterward. I really needed to work on those and study and work with coaches and all of that. But for that role, for a dance student in a highly competitive dance school, check. Yes, done. Aww. I was ready for that.
Had you ever taken acting classes? Did you have an interest in acting prior to this?
I had an interest. I had never taken, maybe a couple of like musical theater, like after school things when I was really little. And I had, like I said, I had done some musical theater performances here, community theater, and here being Hawaii, where I am right now. And, but I had never done like screen acting, anything of any sort like that, it's very different, obviously.
Wow, that is so wild, man. Well, we asked fans for questions for you, and we were flooded with them. So, do you mind if we fire a couple at you?
Please.
Okay, so I liked this one. May asks, "Did you prefer playing Sweet Sara or Psycho Katie?"
Well, Sweet Sara, you and I, Rob, had some really lovely moments. I'm thinking in particular about the scenes. Most of the scenes, the death scene, that whole storyline was really quite lovely, just establishing their romance. But again, I like being crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of that, our next question is from Hennessy Nicole. Another nickname we have coming in here. She's asking, what is your favorite Psycho movie character? Did you take any inspiration from anyone?
Oh, I didn't take any inspiration that I can think of from a movie or anything. Ooh, you know what? This is sort of strange. I don't know why this came to me, maybe because of the location. I'm sure you both have seen Cape Fear.
Mm-hmm.
I've not. I know. I watched the first 20 minutes of it, and he started biting somebody's cheek, and I was like, I gotta go. I can't.
Okay, yeah, no, you're out. I don't even remember that. You know what is kind of the best movie with a character turn? Primal Fear with Ed Norton.
Oh yeah, that's such a great movie.
I haven't seen
Wait,
that.
you haven't seen Primal Fear?
No, and here's the problem is that
shoot.
because of the internet, no, it's okay. Because I have seen none of that movie except for the turn.
end.
Because someone, of course, was like, best turns, like on Instagram, a reel, like best turns of a character. I'm like, oh, man.
I tried to watch, what was it called? The Usual Suspects the other day. I was trying to show it to my boyfriend and he had never seen it. And like, I was like, oh, you got to see it. Kaiser Sose, like, oh, it's so great. I got to say, the movie does not hold up very well. Like it's really slow. And it's by the end, you're just kind of like, I don't even care. I was so surprised because I have this memory, and I guess maybe our attention span has just changed over the years. And I had wondered about if I go back and watch Primal Fear, am I going to have the same experience? Because I loved The Usual Suspects. And, I don't know.
Same, man.
Interesting. Yeah, well, the Primal Fear, I from my memory, I haven't seen it in decades. He is so good. He is so good.
He's terrifying.
Yeah.
He's committed.
Wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Committed. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's what makes your performance so believable too, is there's the mustache twisting version of being a villain. And then there's the version where you really genuinely believe what this character is believing, the psychosis, the break with reality that they're having. It's the only way to make it. There was a compassion, like watching this episode, I felt, and I know we're going to get into the episode later, but I felt a compassion for her. She wasn't just this dastardly evil girl. It was like, oh God, she's
not doing these things to like upset any kind of a balance. She's doing these things because she needs to, right?
Yeah.
Bad people don't know they're bad people. You know, everyone does something for a reason. And usually it's, even if it's a selfish reason or in their mind, a noble reason, it's not for evil mustache twisting reasons,
right?
And I appreciate that because your comments, thank you, because I mean, you have to care about her. You can't be like, oh, this storyline again, these 6 minutes, let's actually empathize with this person because, and Clay does, right? And that's sort of, that's his humanity too.
And when you tap into that, it sort of, when there is a human element to a villain, it muddies the water. And I think those are the more interesting villains. Same thing with heroes. It's like you want someone there's like a piece of you going like, oh, but I get that. The same way with your heroes, if there's a little ugly, you're like, that sucks, but oh, he's human. Like it's fun when you kind of challenge the audience to like not be able to pigeonhole a character immediately.
Yeah, you can't reduce someone down to a moment or an issue in their life. You can't dehumanize them if they're very, very real and human.
I mean, I think that's also kind of human nature's flaw, at least mine, is reducing people down to an instant or a moment or an experience, right? And that's something that, like, for instance, I'm guilty of when somebody cuts you off in traffic. Sure. All they are is that one thing, that one maneuver, right? But the reason that they did that could be that they're rushing to pick their kid up from school, or they're distracted because they have a family member who's ill, or whatever it is. Everyone is the sum of all of their experiences, not just that one that you meet them in. And I'm not sure how I got started on this tangent, but it's like nobody is just one thing, and villain shouldn't be that one thing. Katie might have had a really rough upbringing.
Yeah.
Something could have happened to her at the age of 6 or 7 that just damaged her so deeply that she's looking for love in all of these misguided places.
Yeah. And that the ability that you have to see that and the intelligence you apply to your character in spite of the circumstances that are on the page and everything that seems so wild and soapy and silly, it makes all of those things work because you are so smart and so real about who she is.
You're very kind. Thank you.
No, it's true though. It wouldn't have worked without your insight and ability to convey that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Cammie asks, what were the challenges of playing a second character that wanted to be the first one? and I kind of have a follow-up, which was when they called you and said, we want you to come back and play basically the identical twin of his dead wife. What was your initial reaction to that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Yeah. But did you have any trepidation about, oh, is this going to work? What will people think?
No.
The fact that they're like, we're going to put a wig on you and everyone's going to buy it. Like, you didn't balk at that at all? Balk at that?
No. I mean,
look at you go.
Okay, so it's a different person. It's a completely different person. So you create a different person. And they also waded her into the water. I mean, she doesn't start off as Cuckoo. You know, she's we meet her in your episode that you directed, Joy, just like that little tiny flash. And then we get deeper and deeper and deeper, just as she goes deeper and deeper, you know, into this obsession. But no, I mean, she's a totally different person. But
fair enough.
She's playing at Sara. She's not. She's only able to be what she's read in that journal, right? Or what she's learned about. So she's playing at.
Yeah, it's not like she knew Sara and then you had to try and you had to play a version of yourself pretending to be a version of yourself.
Right. No.
That would have been really hard. Right.
It's just this is what I've read and this is what he likes. And so I'm going to be exactly what he wants and what he needs. You know, it's playing make-believe in
she's acting.
Brain. Yeah.
It's like she got a very thorough breakdown and backstory and was like, great, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah, no, the breakdown services was strong for her.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is from Stu Frank, and he's asking, was the storm episode difficult to film? So, you know, this is ahead of where we're at right now, but since we have you, I am curious how that went because I remember stopping by the set when you guys were filming all the stuff with the house inside, and it was like, I don't know. I feel like the storm stuff was all shot on the stage, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
No.
It wasn't? Because there was some kind of crazy break-ins, broken glass, like stunts happening on the stage at one point. I thought it was that one. Maybe that was inserts or something? I don't know.
I don't remember ever filming on the stage. That could be my own memory. No, the storm stuff, that's where Quinn and Katie fight and go over the...
Yes.
That's the episode you're speaking of?
Yes.
That was all filmed on location.
Inside the house, too?
Inside the house.
Oh.
Inside the house. And there was a rain machine, just like one of those huge rain towers, blasting ice cold rain.
Always ice cold. How could they not have figured out a way to just run the water through a nice little heater? I mean, we all can get electric heaters in our homes. Like, why? Why is it always freezing?
I mean, those towers are pretty big. That might have cost a little bit of a pretty penny to
back then
toasty that water up for us. But we filmed, that was like that particular, the stuff that between Quinn and Katie, we filmed that for the most part all in one day with the fight stuff and then going over. And there were two beautiful stunt performers who obviously did the dramatic stuff. But what I remember about that episode is because we were filming all day and well into the night. I mean, it was probably like 4. We were facing sunrise. We were right up against sunrise when we were doing a lot of that stuff at the end. I fell asleep in like a little nook when they were doing Shantel's coverage, and I fell asleep in like a little nook, and they had like dead asleep. And someone came and woke me up to make me go outside and stand in the rain and like just be menacing, staring into the window. I was like so still asleep, and they just kind of like propped me up outside, and I was in the ice cold water. And it was such a shock to me. I remember just crying because I had like so, but you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell that I was crying because I was like wet rat drenched, and like the tears were just, and I was like, just don't quiver your mouth. Just don't quiver your mouth. Just like stare straight ahead. But I was like,
It would have worked even if you did, though.
Yeah.
Still would have worked.
That's an interesting take, Amanda. Let's try being less cry baby.
Well, that we had the same pumped in rain thing in a scene a couple episodes or several episodes prior with Clay and Quinn, and it was the scene where Clay tells Quinn about Sara. And when Shantel and I read the script, we lobbied hard for the whole conversation to happen in the rain because we thought, wouldn't that be so powerful? And luckily, the director just kept saying, no, trust me, no.
You don't want that. No.
And then I did the first take because she's already in her car, but I did the first take where I had to run through the rain to the car. And that is take your breath away cold water, as if there is a giant glacier just offset that they are melting directly into the hose. So I can only imagine that you having to stand outside there at 4 in the morning exhausted is just torture.
It was always brutal. Did they have a hot tub for you?
No.
Oh,
No.
Maybe they figured that. No, they figured that out later because James and I used to have to do scenes in the rain all the time. That just became like our thing.
She was a guest star,
Yeah,
Joy.
I know. I was
They're
just about
allowed
to say
torture guest stars.
you're flexing your status here, Joy.
I didn't mean to.
They're like, oh, are you going to be difficult? We'll kill you off again.
Yeah. Oh.
No, that's not okay. They should have had a hot tub or warming tent or something. Oh my gosh.
I'm sure they slapped a blanket on me.
It would be incredible should the show go on to do more seasons that you come back as a third character. Because has that ever been done in television history? Someone plays on a non-soap opera.
I was going to say, I'm sure on a soap opera.
On a soap, sure. But on non-soap opera programming, I think
Sarah's
might be
twin
the first.
sister.
Yeah.
That she never knew about, separated at birth. We could dye your hair red.
Yeah. Ooh.
You're Katie's twin sister. Oh, it'd just be great.
All the colors of the rainbow. Yes.
Speaking of, Rob, what you just said about more episodes, did you guys know that there's AI technology I've heard that's being developed, or maybe it exists already.
This is going to make me mad.
I know you can input, like you could upload every episode of One Tree Hill. It scans for storyline. It scans our faces. It scans it. Basically, it could create new episodes in perpetuity. Just any character you want to see, any storyline, anything. It would just create an entirely new episode based on our performances and what exists already.
That makes me upset.
Yeah, me too.
I have heard what you're referring to. There was a kind of a tech panel with some people from the industry, and one of them was saying how AI is kind of it will be sort of at best like a complementary good. It won't be replacing actors or writers, because what it does kind of at its best is like it's mimicry, it's copying, it's sort of a summation of everything, an aggregator of everything. Like visual effects may take a hit because that work can be done more efficiently by technology. But what they were saying was that one of the things that could happen is like you can go to it and ask it to, like, you can pay for the service of having, like, say, the characters from your favorite show do an episode like around something that you have asked it to do.
Okay. Like you write your own episode basically and ask them to do. Weird.
All right. Lily G asks, what's your favorite memory from being on the show?
Oh, I had fun with you, Rob. It's interesting because for all those storylines that we discussed before, I only interacted with you and Shantel. You were the only two people I worked with.
Yeah, like I passed you in the hair and makeup trailer in the hallways.
You directed the very first thing I
That's
did
right. Yes.
as a Katie. That's it.
But other than that, like we never crossed paths.
No, I didn't cross paths with anyone on set. Obviously off camera. Listen, it's a beautiful location to be able to film out there, and I had a lot of fun. I remember one day you and I, Rob, were working out at the beach house, and I looked out, and I don't know if it was like the Fast Times bikini stuff, because that part wouldn't have been my absolute fave, but there were just butterflies everywhere, just butterflies, just these like rainbows of butterflies going by. And I just thought, I am working with lovely people in a beautiful location, just flooded with butterflies. I mean, how does it get much better than that?
There is a magic in Wilmington.
Yes. Yes. It was beautiful.
That's so great. Well, friends, that's the end of the Q&A episode, but I want you to come back because we have Amanda for episode 721, What's in the Ground Belongs to You. And she's going to walk us through more of playing Katie, and we'll talk more about all the multi-storylines that we had going on. Hey, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram at Drama Queens OTH.
Or email us at dramaqueens@iheartradio.com.
See you next time. We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.